Hi. Today I'd like to share a rhyme that I came up with the other day when I was playing with my kids at a playground. The situation was I was pretending to be a monster that wanted to eat the kids, and so I was standing off to the side with my back turned to the kids, saying this rhyme, pretending like I wasn't interested in eating them. And when they would come off the safe area, then I would try to get them. So that was the game, and the rhyme goes like this. I'll put the words and the tones in the description, the pinyin and the tones and the characters in the description below. But for now, I'll just say it and describe some things and teach some things we can learn from it. The rhyme goes like this: 我就是站在这儿，我没有别的事儿。我不想吃小孩儿，我就是站在这儿。Again, that's 我就是站在这儿，我没有别的事儿。我不想吃小孩儿，我就是站在这儿。So I'll translate it, and then we'll go through it line by line, and I'll also make some comments about 儿化. That's putting R's on the end of certain syllables. I use that to cheat a little bit to make it easier to rhyme. So the words are 我就是站在这儿. So that means a couple things. 就是 in that instance means that's all I'm doing. It means I'm just standing here. So I'm just standing here. I don't have anything else I'm doing. I don't want to eat children. I'm just standing here. That's the translation of the rhyme. So 我就是 I'm not doing anything else. That's all I'm doing. 站在这儿. 站 means to stand. 在这儿 means here. Now, if you might think, doesn't 在这儿, like the location phrase, go before the verb? 站在这儿. Well, yes, most of the time it does, but there are certain verbs where it can go either before or after, or just after the verbs, but only after the verbs. So it depends on the verb. The majority of them, the location phrase goes before the verb. That's the basic grammar. And then with 站, when you're saying I'm standing here, I'm standing at not I'm standing around or I'm waiting here, but like I'm standing at this point. It's 站. You can say 站在这儿. And so that's just, there's certain verbs you just have to kind of memorize them and learn them. I've sort of kind of figured, and I sort of have an idea about why some verbs it comes after versus before, but sometimes I actually can't figure it out why. It just is. Okay, so 我就是站在这儿. I'm just standing here. 我没有别的事儿. I do not have 我没有别的事儿. Now, 别的 means other. 事儿 is the 儿化 version of 事 or 事情. The full verb is 事情, which means matter or thing, but not a physical thing that you touch. It's like a matter of business, or like I've got 3 matters to talk to you about. That's what that means. So 我没有别的事儿. I don't have other things going on. I'm just standing here. 我就是站在这儿，我没有别的事儿。我不想吃小孩儿. This is pretty simple grammar. 我不想吃 means I do not want to eat. 我不想吃小孩 or 小孩子, children or child. 我不想吃小孩. And then I just repeat the first line again. 我就是站在这儿. I'm just standing here. So that's the rhyme. Now I want to point out some things about 儿化. So certain places in China, particularly the north, tend to add R's onto certain syllables. And there are words you can add. You can't just add it indiscriminately. You have to know which ones you can add it and which ones you cannot. And you don't have to add it. It's just an accent preference thing. It has nothing to do with right or wrong. There are people who speak Chinese really well who never use R's. And there are people who use them a lot. There are certain people who use them on a few words and some people who use them on a lot of words. And so it's just a preference thing and where someone grew up, that kind of thing. So but when you put it on, the R is its own character. It's the R that means child or son, 儿子. It's that character. It's a very simple character. You can see it below. So you write its own character, but it's said as one syllable. So if I say 小孩, or let's go with 事儿, that means matter. If I add an R on it, it becomes shì-er. But it's still said as one syllable, but it's written as two. So it's actually the only case that I know of in Chinese at this moment where two characters are said as one syllable. Basically, it's usually one syllable. One character equals one syllable. One character, one syllable. But in this case, there's an exception. R is tacked onto a syllable. And the way it influences the pronunciation of the syllable it's attached to depends on the vowel or sometimes the semi-vowel, like the consonant that the syllable ends on. So depending on what syllable it is, if it's an A, like I'm trying to think of an example. Doesn't really matter. I'll just make one up. Say it's ba. If it's ba, then the r just gets attached to it. It's just added. This doesn't change the original syllable. It's just bar. If it's ban, ban, then it becomes bar. It's exactly the same. The n is dropped, and so it does influence this pronunciation of the syllable. So certain ones are changed, certain ones aren't. So in this rhyme, the first one that was 我就是站在这儿. So 这里 becomes 这儿. You drop the li, and then you add the er, 这儿. So it's 这儿, 这儿. The next line ended with 我没有别的事儿. That's 是 becomes 事儿. So it does get changed. The pronunciation gets changed. 是, it's not 是儿, it's 事儿. Becomes one. And then the next line was 小孩 became 小孩儿. So in that case, the I letter, the E sound, gets dropped. So it's like H-A-R. It sounds like H-A-R, even though the original syllable is hai, but it's pronounced har, 小孩儿. And then lastly, I just did the same thing again. 我就是站在这儿. So those are some thoughts about that. Hope that's cute and fun. And see you on another day.